All right, we're up and running again. I think we're ready to go again. Okay, let's take 4.5. All right, let's get the first print, please. We are up and running. This is the commissioned section of the commercial category. And what a great start to our morning. We have 83 and a silver award. And I must say, Judge is very consistent. I would love to hear a comment from Gary. Thank you.
Yeah, this is, we got Mike? Yep. Interesting application of what's essentially a fairly mundane scenario of the whole goings on of an aircraft docking, but all the lovely little elements that then fit into these aircraft, I think have been really well sort of put together to piece together this story of an aircraft getting filled with stuff. So well done.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Gary. And we will have the next print, please. This is commissioned, yes. I will just read the description on this one. I know you have judged, and this print has scored a 77. So let me just read the bodyline bar, Adelaide Oval, commissioned by Cox Architecture for use in awards entries, tender submissions, and general marketing. So this print has scored a 77, very consistent judging across the board. Could I get a comment, please, from Melissa?
Yeah, good standard of professional practice, good handling of the different types of lights lighting that we've got in there, but very much what I would consider a regular day at the office. Just needed something to really bring it up into focusing your eye into a particular area to bring it up into that next level.
Thank you. So good professional practice. Absolutely. Thank you. And we will have the next print, please. This image is captured at my studio during a dog shoot requested by a client. The brief, black backdrop for a rescued black greyhound who had her left ear severed. Thus, I shot on Layla's right side. I captured her strength and power to further divorce her previous mistreatment. And this print has scored a 78. And we have a hand up from Gary Cranich who's wanting to challenge, and you certainly can, Gary. So, Gary, you are on 88. It is an automatic challenge. It didn't come up as automatic challenge. Okay, so we are an automatic challenge. So that does mean that but everyone gets a chance to rescore, which is fantastic. So, Gary, you're on 88, and then we do have 77, 78, 78, and 70.
I was drawn to just how we're only dealing with essentially 2 tones here, maybe 3 tones. A really difficult situation to come up with a representation of this animal. It's beautifully printed. It's almost a landscape picture, but then it becomes a commercial picture. It's quite an amazing image of what could have been a very simple, straightforward shoot, but I think it's been turned into something far more abstract and interesting. So I know I have some work to do to get you guys up a little bit further, but I just think we're seeing a really high standard here. A high silver is where I was headed. It's a beautiful print. They're incredible, those little subtle blacks. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay, Melissa, I am going to come to you. You were sitting on 70.
Yes, I was at the other end, wasn't I? This image was not showing me the story that the caption was giving me, and it has got some nice tonal ranges within the image, and I do like the idea of it being more of an abstract, but it's not giving me that story. It's not giving me that emotional connection, which, if you're trying to tell a story of that magnitude to an animal like that, I just didn't feel that was coming across.
So I would like to get one more comment, please. David, would you like to offer?
Yeah, I applaud the boldness of the black on black, but I just feel like it misses the mark because it's just pushed a little bit too far, so that there's no personality in the animal for me. And there's a lot, so I put it in professional practice. I'm listening maybe to, I could come up to a low silver, but I'm considering.
Okay, so here we are. We are an automatic challenge. So that means all judges, could I ask you now to rescore? Great conversation, guys. We are 81 silver award. So that's a fantastic result. So that just shows the conviction of a challenge, or the conviction in what you believe in the print really should achieve, can help the photographer, and no doubt that person will be very happy with that. We will have the next print, please. Photo taken of Brendan Southwick, owner of CrossFit Territory, for the cover of Darwin Life magazine. So this is the commissioned category, sponsored by our friends here in Adelaide, Graphic Art Supplies. Long-time supporters of our awards here in Adelaide, in South Australia indeed. Okay, we've just got a bit of a delay on the result coming up here. Okay, here we go. We have an 82. It is a silver award. Again, very consistent judging. 4 of you sitting on 83, which is absolutely brilliant. I would love to get a comment. Now, Gary, you are actually just under the award level there.
Yeah, look, it's a very strong, striking image of this buff belting bloke. I probably might have gone further with it if maybe the body story came through even stronger. I think it's a fairly subtle body story. A stronger body story might have got me even further up. But yeah, well done, silver award.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. And we will have the next print, please. Just waiting for it to come up here. Image commissioned by Lewis Major Projects to market his dance show Epilogue to a world audience. Dancer is a French soloist with the Gothenburg Ballet Opera. Dancer was moving when the image was taken, not posed. Laurie? Okay, we've just got to refresh here because we've just gone blank. Sorry, my screen's just gone absolutely. There we go. Is that the one? Okay, we have an average of 79, but a majority of 80, and it is a silver award. Congratulations to the photographer. I would love to get a comment actually from David. You are just on there on a silver award.
Yeah, well done. I think it's a difficult image to create, and I think it would have been improved further by a bit of a crop on the right and top, and a little bit more space underneath. But I think it's well done and well deserving of a silver.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And we will have the next print, please. I'm having major problems with things coming around on this, guys, so... All right, image was captured during my commissioned photo shoot by Darwin Mix 104.9. The brief photographed 12 different dogs in a themed setting I was to create and design for each dog. I chose Easter relevant text for Bulldog Cruiser due to his warm tones and towering size against my chicken prop. And this print scores a 77. And we have a hand up from David. Is that a challenge, David? Excellent. Fantastic. Yes, you certainly can. So, David, you are on 82. So you've got a 77, 77, 76 and a 75. Take it away.
Oh, yeah, look, I think in this category, this fits the brief that was described quite perfectly, and I think we need to just have another look. I'd like you to consider a silver. I think the print quality is good. I think the setup is good for the brief. I think the positioning of the chick in between the not between the paws, but between the arms, with the large paws coming out, conveys the sense of, difference in scale between the animals. And I just think it tells the story it's meant to tell very well. I think it's deserving of a silver.
All right, Clay, I might go to you. You're sitting on 77. You're under the award level there.
Yeah, look, I'd be keen to be talked up on it. I mean, the things that concern me is that everything, I think, is pretty much under the photographer's control, which means I look at the lighting, the background, the structure, and I feel like it really needs more with that sort of control that's sort of gone into it. I'm sort of struggling with the caption that's on the print. Sorry, what's it say again? It's best friends ever since she hatched, which... If it's all about dogs and their friends, like it looks like it's like 2 days old or something, and that's not a long friendship relationship. If that's where we're sort of going with it, I'm a bit confused over it all. So I'm keen to be talked up by David. Thank you.
All right, well, David, you do have your right of reply.
Oh, look, I saw that as humour. That was the humour to me. That was like, oh, this is, that's the whole point. It's only just hatched and they're best friends, and that's not hilarious, I know, but I just thought it was a little bit funny. But I think the other thing too is that the position of the chick is kind of pretty perfect with the little wing up. And it just creates that little bit of extra dynamic sense in the photo. I just think it's worthy of a low silver to reward the photographer for putting it together nicely with working with animals too.
All right, well, David, you will hold on 82. Can the other judges please rescore? We've come up 1 to 78. So we're still in good, strong professional practice, and hopefully that's some good feedback for the photographer if they want to take it on to nationals. We will have the next print, please. The Cancer Research Institute, University of South Australia, commissioned by the architects Swanbury Penglaze and BVN for use in awards entries, tender submissions and general marketing. And to the South Australian crew, we do still have tickets available for our awards dinner this coming Tuesday evening at the Adelaide Bowls Club. It is lawn bowls, so get ready for your barefoot bowling. So if you've not booked your ticket, why not? DJ open bar till 11:30. No? Yes? Yes. Awesome. Sounds good to me. I'll be there. It's not an open bar? Oh, the bar will be open. And this print has scored a 78, so good, strong professional practice. Let me see. Laurie, I would love to get some feedback from you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Look, this is a professional practice image that we're looking at. I think what would have helped it up a little bit further is perhaps the time of day that it was shot. I think it was very clever to wait for a train and a bus to be there because obviously we're advertising or showing off a university, so we want to see that there's public transport that's available and close by. But I just felt that that left-hand sign was a little bit tightly cropped. If there was a little bit more space there and perhaps, I don't know, something a little bit more dramatic or darkener in the sky to just really bring up that building a little bit further would have brought it along. Awesome.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, and we will have the next print, please. Photo taken for Humpty Doo barramundi, which is the Northern Territory's premium supplier of saltwater barramundi. This photo features a fish farmer throwing back into the nets a barramundi that almost got away. When collecting barramundi, they must wear cricket helmet to protect their faces from jumping barramundi. You in, Laurie? And this print scores a 77, so good professional practice, quite consistent across the board. Gary, would you offer feedback, please?
Look, clearly the photographer's seen some interesting goings on with this activity, but I think some contributing elements of the second figure sort of languishing in the background, and maybe the other element of the horizon detail probably doesn't contribute to the story. There is a strong story there around tossing the fish, but I'd like to see the fish flying through the air. So, just a little bit more in terms of elaborating on the story.
Excellent. Sometimes it is what was the next frame. You just never know. Thank you for that. And we'll have the next print, please. Capricorn Rescue Helicopter Service undertaking drills off the coast of Rockhampton. And of course, we want to thank our friends here at Marden Senior College for hosting us through these awards. And Carl Ludik's phone just went off. He owes at the bar now. That's it. Yes. Big thanks to Marden, to Malcolm and his crew for putting up with us. Very consistent. This is 83 and is a silver award. Congratulations to that photographer. Now, David, I'm actually going to throw to you for comment because you were actually sitting on 85.
Well, if you were the client, you'd be very happy with this. It's striking, it's got depth, it's got shapes, it's got movement, it's got colour, and it's got space for text, and it fits the brief perfectly, and it wouldn't be easy to capture either, so it's great.
Fantastic, that's great. And we'll have the next print, please. Pavilion at Karen Rolton Oval, Adelaide, commissioned by Cox Architecture for use in awards entries, tender submissions and general marketing. Great scoring, judges. So we have an 82, a silver award. That's fantastic. So, where are we? I'm going to go to Laurie. You're just sitting on a good high silver there.
And I would have bumped it up even more. I was looking for something else in the picture, but it's a really refined, well seen, beautifully clean. Look, the client would have been very excited to see this image. So well done to the photographer.
All right, fantastic. So we might just do a quick judging change. Let's give someone a bit of a break there. So let's take... I'm going to ask Ben to come on in, and I'm going to ask Mel to have a bit of a break there. Okay, and we will have the next print, please. Sorry, we're just doing the judge change. Sorry. Okay, so image was captured during my commissioned photo shoot by Darwin Mix 104.9. The brief photographed 12 different dogs in a setting that I was to create and design for each dog. I chose a luxurious set, added relevant text for Hector due to his name, extravagant home life, and silky coat. And this print scores a 77. Clay, you're on 77 there. Can you offer some feedback, please?
Yeah, look, I really want to upscore the print because I understand, I think, where they're trying to go with it. But I think, again, because everything's under the photographer's control, I want to see a lot more depth in that background and what they've created and the design and the content that's gone into it to really elevate it to the story that they're trying to tell. But it's really good professional practice.
That's great. Thanks very much for that. And we will have the next print, please. Each year, the Darwin Turf Club hold a competition to select their ambassador for the carnival racing season. This year, 8 girls made it to the final stage of the competition to decide who will take home the title of 2019 Darwin Cup Carnival Ambassador. So this is the commissioned section of the commercial category sponsored by our friends at Graphic Art Supplies here in Adelaide. And of course our overall sponsors of the awards being EPSON, long-time friends of the AIPP and supporters, and we always appreciate them. And this print scores a 79. For those might be new to the process, normally a 79 at Nationals would go to review, but here at State we don't have that process. But I will grab a comment from Laurie. She's got her finger up there. Go for it.
Yeah, look, I gave this an 82 because I was really intrigued by this as it came round, and I wanted to award the photographer for innovation, especially hearing the caption too. I was really keen to see what was going on in the picture, but then was a little bit disappointed that it was just a lot of repetition. But I still wanted to award the photographer, I think, for their idea, and I think if this is something that you're going to try again, give it a go, because I think you're onto something pretty cool.
That's awesome. Thank you. There were indeed 2 judges who were just sitting in silver, so you weren't on your own there. And we will have the next print, please. Image commissioned by Erin Fowler for marketing of her dance show. Show was about a young woman's experience as a model then dancer. Performed at the Adelaide Fringe. Needed an image to catch the public's attention. Erin only jumped once for this capture. No motor winder use. Single capture. Well done, judges. 83, silver award. That's a fantastic result. Now, look, David, I'm actually going to throw to you again because you actually did put it just in the silver distinction.
Okay, well, look, nailed it in terms of the impact. I mean, it's a really striking image, and it would grab a lot of attention for its purpose. One thing that I think it could have improved it is just paying attention to what she was wearing, actually, because the colours on her dress really clash with the overall palette of the colours in the background, and I find it quite jarring when I get up close, but I still gave it an 85. I think it's brilliant.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for that. Okay, so Ben, I'm just going to have to get you just to step out just for a second, and I might get, Mel, can you just hop back in for me just for a couple? And we will have the next print, please. So I'll just read. So Terminal 4 activity at Melbourne Airport. So we do have an 83 and a silver award, and but we do have a hand up straight away from Laurie. So Laurie, you are on 88 silver distinction. I'm going to accept your challenge. So you've got some 80s there. So over to you. You've got an 83, 84, 82, and a 78.
Ah, easy. Yeah, look, this has got impact. It's got clarity. It's got beautiful colours coming through it. It's got this intricate detail. It's just got so many things going on. And it's one of those pictures you could look at for ages, and what really took it up for me was that I was not only looking at an aerial, but I was also looking at a vertical sort of, up and down sort of image as well. Like I could see almost like a ladder scale. I could see a robot in there. I could see all sorts of really cool things. I think the photographers really nailed this one and seen something beyond the normal sort of aerial, sort of scene of a commercial type area. I went for a silver distinction straight on, and if you guys want to have another look at it, I think you're going to enjoy it even more now.
So Clay, I'm going to come to you on 78.
Yeah, funny, Laurie, the very thing that you open your comments at is what sort of bothers me is that there is just so much going on. And I guess when I look for it, when I see these sort of an image, I'm looking for the strong graphic design in it that really overarches the whole image. But having said that, I'm being persuaded by your argument for it, and I can see merit in it, and I'll be coming up.
So Laurie, your right of reply.
Yeah, look, I think you've just reiterated exactly what I was saying. And in fact, the more I'm looking at it now, all those extra little things in there making it so busy is that robotic sort of exercise of what's happening here. It's all those little elements that make it such a robotic sort of place. So yeah, silver distinction's where I've got it, guys. Let's go for it.
Fantastic. Well, Laurie, you will hold on 88 if the other judges please rescore. Your talk has done well, 86. Silver with... Oh, you what? It's... Okay, I don't know how we do that. Sue? So just to explain to everyone what's going on, I'm not going to say it again, we had a slip of a finger. No, that's just politically incorrect, isn't it? So we just had one of our judges did accidentally put a score into the iPad that he didn't mean to. So we just need to get that fixed up. Right. Thank you, Sue, for fixing that. Okay, however, we are 86 silver with distinction. So those additional points do make a difference to where we're sitting in the finals category. So well done, judges. Great conversation and great result. Awesome. Let's have our next print, please. MPH Building, Smith Street, Alice Springs, commissioned by the architects Susan Dugdale and Associates for use in awards entries, tender submissions and general marketing. So it's an average 79, however, majority 80, so it is a silver award. Congratulations. Now, I would love to get a comment, please, from Gary. So, Gary, you were sitting in silver range.
Yeah, I saw enough just to come into silver. I think if the photographer was to do some other things with this building as well as what probably the client asked for, this is a whole other idea. There's some really interesting shapes going on there too, so some more graphic things. So maybe another revisit, do some more things with this building. Really interesting, but silver award, yeah.
Fantastic. So I'm just going to do a quick... So, Mel, if you just stay where you are for a second. Clay, I might get you to swap out. George, would you like to come and join us, please? And we will have the next print, please. So just let me read it first. Just waiting for it to come up on here. No, it hasn't changed. It's thinking, here it is. Okay, image was captured at Beatrice Hill Buffalo Farm, Northern Territory in the wet season during my commissioned story photography by Australian Geographic. The brief covered the 40-year breeding program and importation of semen to the farm, which is transforming Northern Territory feral buffalo into a prodigy for producing world-class stock milk and meat. So just wait for your scores just a sec, judges, just doing a quick change. Did you do the change?
Waiting.
No, you got it. Oh, you've pushed it. Okay, hang on. Sorry. Hang on. Okay, go ahead. Thank you. Yep, it's just dropped out. Hang on just a sec. It just keeps dropping out, unfortunately. We are back. It is so this print has scored a 76. Laurie, would you like to give a comment for this print, please?
Yeah, I felt that it was a little bit flat. So, I've still put it in professional practice. However, I think it could have been boosted a little bit more with a bit more contrast. Also, the caption, I wish I didn't hear it because we're going to be eating these animals. So, yeah, I don't know. I was sort of left on a bit of a, oh, I'm sorry, you look so cute. But, yeah, so anyhow, to help the photographer, perhaps a little bit more contrast in there, a little bit more space too, maybe, just to give it a little bit more of a sense of where we are out there in the wild.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And we will have the next print, please. Hopefully. Qantas Airbus A380 at Bay at Melbourne Airport. And this print scores 82 and is a silver award. Fantastic. Now, George, you were actually just sitting just under the award range there.
Yeah, well done to the photographer for starters. I think I would have liked to have seen this in colour, just to give it a bit more story and for the client to be able to use it as well. I think colour would have told a bit more of the story. Also, the plane's not quite lined up on the lines, so that was a distraction for myself. But otherwise, beautiful print.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. So, guys, that is actually the last one in the commissioned. So we're now going to roll straight into non-commissioned, just so you're aware of that the change is actually now happening. So I'm going to accept this one here. What's wrong? What's wrong? That's right. Yeah. 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 Okay. All right. So we will go straight into judging the commissioned, and we will have the first image, please. Sorry, non-commissioned. Did I say commissioned? Oh. Okay. Let's just see if we go next set. Now it says self-commissioned. Okay, first print, please. This image was self-commissioned in August 2018 for my commercial portfolio. The image captures the sculptural stairwell inside South Australia's Samri building. This print scores an 81 and is a silver award. And Gary does have his hand up. Yes, Gary, you certainly can challenge. So you are sitting on 87. Okay, so you've got a 75, an 82, a 77 and an 84.
Okay. I went a little bit beyond just a low silver award purely because of the beautiful print quality and how this building has been interpreted. And the tonal variation is really interesting. Initially, I was sort of a bit confused by those tonal shifts and moves within the same, if you like, tonal value, the same plane. But I think in this instance, that interest of variation in tone in the image has actually really helped get you into the central curve and into the spiral. It is a really beautiful print. It's almost a perfect print. I was just drawn to that lovely tonal variation on what is essentially a fairly flat plane. So I liked that shift and move in the tones throughout it, and then drawing you into that central little spiral right into the middle. So I was on 87. We might get up a few more points. Let's see how we go.
Melissa, I would love to hear from you.
Yeah, I thought that was coming. Everything that you liked about it or could see in it, I actually found was distracting. This is not a unique perspective on this particular building, and the fact that we've got a lot of well, there's a shallower depth of field, so the larger areas are actually on the outside are a lot softer than going in, and I know that sort of draws your eye in, but for me it was actually quite distracting, and I would have rather seen it as a very much an abstract, two-dimensional style of look rather than turning that into that third dimension, which is why I put it into professional practice. I also felt that the lighting up in that top corner in the left-hand side was a little bit almost like little rays coming in there as well, which was a little bit distracting for me as well. So I put it in professional practice, but I am listening still.
So, Gary, your right of reply. Oh, yeah. Yes, you
I
can.
just wanted to say something to back up my buddy at the other end there, because I came in at 84 and I was hovering and going a little bit over. I liked the whole sort of graphic element of this piece, and it's something I haven't seen before, so I'm not familiar with the building, so it was very new to my eyes. And I really wanted to step it over, except for there was some things in there that are in the hands of the photographer, and they were just little things that needed to be cleaned up for me, because I'm drawn to those white pieces, and as soon as I go in there, they were the things that were holding me back. There were a couple of little spots. So refining perhaps would have helped me push it a little bit further. But high strong silver.
Yeah. No, I will go to Gary's right of reply now.
Yeah, look, I can agree to disagree on this one. I enjoyed the tonal variation. I think if we had, a flat tonal range with this, it would be a much less dynamic picture. I'm not particularly concerned about some slightly softer edges. It is about the line that follows you in, and the tonal variation has been used as an effective tool to draw you into that central area of sharper focus within the image. So, yeah.
All right, so Gary, you will hold on 87 if the other judges please rescore. And we are on 83, so we are at a silver award. So congratulations to the photographer. Absolutely fantastic result. Now, I'm going to do a bit of a swap over. Let me see. Who have I got here? Actually, Clay, I might just grab you back. David, do you want to take a quick break for me? Clay, if you want to hop back in for me. Okay, and we will have the next print, please. RAF Lockheed Martin C-130J Hercules airlifter silhouette after performing a rapid descent and hold during simulated tactical manoeuvres at the Avalon Air Show 2019. And this print scores an 80 and is a silver award. Fantastic, congratulations. I would love to get a comment. Actually, George, you were a little bit lower there.
Yeah, well done to the photographer on this unique perspective. Just my eye goes straight to the lightest colour of the image, that small circle in the door, and the rim of the plane as well is quite bright compared to the sky in the background. So there's some technical issues there with the printing that held me back, but otherwise nice print.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for that. So I'm just going to do a quick change. So Ben, can you swap over with Gary for me, please? Okay, and we will have the next print, please. Overshadowing the old. Okay. Bender, can you quickly hop in for this one, please? Just don't change it. Just leave it at that. Yeah. And this print does score an 82 and is in fact a silver award. And George's hand is straight up in the air for a challenge. Yes, I will accept your challenge on 88, George. So do you want to know what you've got?
Yes, please.
Right, we've got a 78, 77, 83 and 82.
Okay. So this image really spoke to me as soon as it turned around. It's got so many elements, the contrast, the detail as you walked up to the image was beautiful. The color palette with the yellows on the bottom left and the blues on the right. Just the parallel lines as you walked up to the image, you saw a lot more. I love the story between the old overshadowing the new, with the old homes and the new buildings. Yeah, it's such a gorgeous print, and definitely feel that it deserves more points.
Okay. Laurie, I would love to come to you. You're down the other end of the scale at 78.
Yeah, look, the photographer's, seen something really interesting here with the two building reflections. I guess I sort of felt a little bit, I don't know, confused, confused, not the word, but the colours were just too much for me. Maybe the reds were, I don't know. And I sort of felt maybe if it was in black and white, I'd not be looking at the colours and be looking at the shapes. And then there was also a couple of things in there that I felt the photographer could actually have fixed. Like there's a couple of white spots in there that probably shouldn't be there if this is a commercial type image. But yeah, I did have it in professional practice, but I'm listening.
So hang on, Bender did want to give a quick comment?
Yes, thanks. I really like the contrast between the actual modern building and the small. I thought perhaps at first it was too busy, but you've got a warm corner down there, and you've got that very dominant cool colours looking down. The fact the shadows are actually pointing down that way is even more intimidating. And just the sort of mixture of shapes in that bottom left-hand corner is against the regimented, dominant, almost military overshadow of the other building. I think is excellent. Love it.
Thank you for that. George, your right of reply?
Yeah, and I love that. I love the whole idea of overshadowing this powerful new building, overshadowing the old. When you look at the flags there's actually 3 flags on the bottom hand of the image. There's a very heavy shadow over the top of the Aboriginal flag as well. You can also read into that, and that's a really interesting story there as well. So I didn't really see, I thought the colour actually improved this print. It's a beautiful palette. In black and white you would have lost all the contrast, and yeah, I think it's a very powerful print and should be rewarded.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. So, George, you will hold on 88 if everyone else please rescore. Well done, judges. 85 by majority, silver with distinction. Fantastic. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a judge shuffle. So, Ben, if you can come back on. But, Bender, can you please pop in where George is sitting? And I'm just going to get George to pop off. No, change 2 to that one. Mark, can I actually, sorry, Bender, I do need to swap you up. Mark, can you just pop in quickly for Bender, please, here? All right, so Ben's still the same. So George is one. Okay, and sorry about the shuffle. We'll get there. Thank you. And we'll have the next print, please. World-renowned Aussie stunt pilot Paul Bennett performing his spectacular flyby and pyrotechnics display at the Jamestown Air Spectacular 2018. Okay. Well, actually, okay. All right, so George could actually just judge this one for us, but then I'll get you both to swap back straight away. And then we'll get, yeah. This is an average 80, but majority 79. So we're just under there, but we're still good professional practice, which is fantastic. Now, I would love to get a comment from Clay. So, Clay, you were sitting in the silver range there.
Yeah, look, I think it's an outstanding image. I think if you were briefed to go and get a photograph that indicates what this story is and you came back or you produced this, you'd just be stoked. And so would the client. And everything about it is exceptionally well handled. The drama of the background, the sharpness, the angles, the depth, the texture. It's a really beautiful image.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so I am going to do another shuffle now. So, Mark, can you come in for George, please? Laurie, I'm going to give you a break. Gary, can you hop back on for us, please? That would be great. Okay, and yeah, all right, we might have to do another little shuffle soon, but we'll see how we go. Okay, we will have the next print, please. Mon Amour. That's it. George. Mark. Yeah, Mark. Très bien, mes amis. 81, that is a silver award. Congratulations. Just thought I'd keep the French theme going there. I would love to get a comment from Gary. Thank you.
Oui, c'est formidable. Hein? Oui. Look, I would, in terms of taking this picture a little bit further, I was in silver. Perhaps some more control over the bottom half of the image in terms of the brightest parts. And it's also not quite smack bang in the centre. There's that symmetry thing going on with the image, but it isn't spot on symmetrical. So, sometimes that can work, but I think in this instance, the top half is really nice with the symmetry, but that bottom half has a few issues in tonal values. So apart from that, there you go. Allons-y, oui.
Ah, merci. Merci beaucoup. Okay, so I'm going to have to do another quick little shuffle. So, George, can you come on, please, for Mel? Thank you, team. And we will have the next print, please. This image was self-commissioned in August 2018 for my commercial portfolio. This image shows the facade of South Australia's Samri building. This print scores a 79. So good, strong professional practice. Mark, I would love to get a comment from you. Thank you.
Yeah, look, this is so unbelievably close, and you've definitely got an award-winning image hiding in this file because the symmetry is impeccable. I've seen a lot of attempts at this, and 1 millimeter of difference where you stand will make all the difference to that symmetry, and this has been handled just beautifully. The treatment though is way too heavy, particularly in that sky. The highlight in that sky is competing with that lovely textural flow through that building.
Fantastic. That's great feedback and hopefully can be used to readjust or reshoot. And we will have the next print, please. The new University of Adelaide Health and Medical Sciences building, situated in the South Australian Health and Biomedical Precinct, adjacent to the new Royal Adelaide Hospital and SAMRI. Intended use for this image is architecture and possibly Adelaide Metro and the Adelaide City Council to promote the new precinct. And this print scores a 79. So again, good, strong professional practice. So I'm going to go to Ben. You are actually just on that 79. So where would you take it for a silver?
It is a beautiful image and striking. I think the finessing is just not quite there. There's a little bit of a blemish up in the sky in the top left. Not as sharp as I want it to be at the top of the building. But I think it's got potential.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So I'm going to have to do another little shuffle. So I'm going to ask Ben and Mark to step off, and I'm going to have to get Laurie to come back in for a couple. And Melissa, can you step back in, please? Okay, and we will have the next print, please. Examples of architectural features surrounding domestic windows in order to protect from the relentless Australian sun. Good to go. This print scores an 81 and is a silver award. Absolutely fantastic. Now, George, I would love to get a comment from you, please.
Yeah, well done to the photographer. Nice image, well seen. Love the blocks of and darkness, and yeah, the overall balance is beautiful. I think a little bit more contrast just to take it up a notch, but yeah, really well printed as well. So nice job.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. We will have the next print, please. Concrete. This is an average 82, but it is a majority 79. And Melissa and George have their hands up in the air. Now, you are both on 88. So I saw Melissa's hand first, so I'm actually going to let Melissa have this challenge. So, Melissa, as you know, so you do have George on 88, and you've got a 79, 78, and a 77.
This is like meditation for OCD people. It's symmetric. There's two things that I would get rid of it. There's a little tiny white dot about 2/3 of the way down in the centre, and there's a little line on the second panel of the concrete up the top that can be touched out. But otherwise, I just see this as a huge, beautiful image in a corporate office of a concrete company that just demonstrates so perfectly well this particular material for building purposes. So I just see the commercial application for this spot on perfect.
Gary, you're down the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I'm not that far away from a silver award. I've got a bit to go before I get to silver distinction. And Mel, you pointed out a few of those blemishes. There's a few others there as well. I think if we're going to get that beautiful clarity of this repetition of tone, once you go into some of those panels of tone, if there is something that gets you and grabs you, it just hits you, and then you go looking for all of those. So, however, I think it's a really interesting approach to shooting what is essentially a horrible, boring product. So, yeah, I'm still listening to some other judges there.
George, did you want to add a little bit to it? I can see you there.
Of course. I just love this image. That's why I scored it a high silver. Straight away, the lighting is beautiful. You see those slits of light coming through the top, which marry the vertical lines and the leading lines of the floor. The choice of concrete, where to place that camera, where to shoot to keep it all balanced was just perfect. You see the concrete lines, everything lines up beautifully. Even the small imperfections you saw, Mel, didn't distract me. I saw the grate on the left-hand side, bottom left-hand side, that balanced out with the other things that were happening on the right. Yeah, I just love this image and would love to reward the photographer for their effort.
Oh, Melissa, you do have your right of reply.
Well, I am glad at least one other person agrees with me. The image itself has sensational tones through it as well. And I think I've never really liked the look of concrete, but I could hang this in my house. Like I can see the artistic interpretation of something that is usually pretty mundane and boring and ordinary. So that is why that took it up into that silver distinction range for me. At first I was thinking this is a silver, and then the more I looked at it, the more I thought, you know what, this is concrete. This is whole, cold, rocky, hard stuff that doesn't usually look attractive, and they have made this look really attractive. So hopefully we can get a silver distinction.
All right, well, Mel, you will hold on 88, and everyone else please rescore. Oh, we are average 85, but majority 84. So we are at a silver award. So look, congratulations, everyone. And congratulations to the photographer, I should say. Okay, we just need to have a little bit of a shuffle. So, George, can I get you to hop off? David Evans, are you still in the room somewhere? Oh, there you are, hiding. Come hither too. And I'm going to get Laurie. I'll give you a bit more of a break. Mark, can you hop on, please? That's all good, yep. Okay. All right. And we will have the next print, please. Waiting to call commercial for crisis helpline. I will in just a second. Waiting to call commercial for crisis helpline. Or, yeah, there may be something missing, but that's all I can see. This is the self-commissioned section of the commercial awards, sponsored by our friends at Graphic Art Supplies here in Adelaide. Michael and Steve, I believe it is over there. And we are hosted by Marden Senior College. David and Mel, have you guys put your scores in? Okay. Yeah, they're not on my system. Ah, yeah. So, let's turn it on. And yes, in anticipation, we are 80 and it is silver award. That is absolutely fantastic. Mark, go ahead. Thank you.
Caption let it down, whack this in illustrative. If it was in illustrative, I would have scored it like an 89. It's almost at that gold level. It's a beautiful homage to Jack Vetriano, but commercial application versus the title didn't match well.
Wow, what great advice. So sometimes the category your image is entered into can make all the difference to how the judges perceive it and see it. So great feedback, Mark. Thank you. And we will have the next print, please. Photo taken at the Westfield World Trade Center in Manhattan, New York. It replaces the mall at the World Trade Center, which was destroyed on September 11, 2001. This image is part of a self-commissioned architectural art project. We are at 80 and a silver award. Congratulations, that is fantastic. David, oh no, Gary, yeah, Gary, you'd like to go ahead? Yes.
Yeah, well done, photographer. I mean, I'm sure the tendency was maybe to grab that shadow area and open it out, but it creates this interesting mystery so that we've got humans who are just these insignificant little blips in amongst this fantastic architectural piece. So, yeah, it's got Spaceship Death Star about it there. So, well done. Yep.
We are all blips in this world, aren't we, Gary? We're just blips. It's good to be a blip. Thank you. Now, Gary, I'm actually going to give you a bit of a break. Ben, can you hop in for me, please? And we will have the next print, please. This photograph aims to promote and capitalise on the AFL Women's League following a hugely successful season in 2019. The Adelaide Crows versus Carlton Grand Final held at the Adelaide Oval amassed a crowd of 53,000, marking the largest attendance for a female sporting event in Australian history. Just hold before scoring, Mel. Yeah. No, wrong end. Sorry, just hang on, Mel. Hang on, hang on. All right. Yep, go ahead. Clay, did you pop yours in? We are an average 80, but this is a 79. Now, we have a hand up from David Evans who's challenging. So, David, you're on 84. You're on a good, strong silver. I'm going to accept your challenge. So, you've got 83, 79, 79, 77.
Yeah, I'd like to at least talk about this, and I think it's deserving of a silver. It sort of smacked me a little bit too hard at first, but then I realised that it was actually quite clever with the way that the colours had been matched and the little player had been put in there in a sort of a Wes Wally sort of fashion almost from afar. And then just to top it off with the motif of the stars being, you know, the football stars, and I just saw all these different other little things in it. The printing's done really, really, really well, and the handling of the lights on the oval and things like that. And I think it's, in the end, it's the colour palette and the balance and the way it's been printed and the way it's been constructed is actually quite clever. And I definitely think it's worthy of a silver.
Okay, so Mark, you're sitting on 79, just under.
Yeah, look, really cleverly constructed. I love the crow's colours flowing through. You know, the thing that kind of just held me back under, because I think it's a really well crafted image and it's not a lot that I can fault in there at all. It had a lot of forethought. I love the concept, but the player and the ball, if it wasn't for the caption, I would have really struggled to. It just doesn't leap, it doesn't jump. If, you know, I'm trying to put this in the context of a commercial brief, and that ball would be coming right at my face, the player would have been positioned so much closer to the camera to make them larger in frame, and I think then we could look at getting it to that award range, whereas at the moment I think, yeah, it's a really great professional practice. Needs that little bit extra for me, but I'm listening.
Clay, did you want to give a comment for it?
Look, just quickly, I'm with Mark. I was just a bit confused. The title really just puts me I like the image, and then I hear the title and I think, well, it doesn't suit it at all. I was sort of like, if it's about women's football, well, there's just one player who's kicking a ball to God knows where. But incredibly well handled in so many elements, and so yeah, I'm listening as well.
All right, David, your right of reply.
I don't think we should deny the photographer a low silver just because of the caption. I think we should be really looking at the craft of the print, and I think we shouldn't also question how big it might be printed. You might see this player pretty big on a billboard, and there's room for text, and so I think it's just being a little harsh to say, look, it's really great and I can't fault it, but the caption let it down. I think the photographer's done enough for a silver.
All right, well, David, you'll hold on 84 if everyone else can please rescore. Well done, team. 82 silver award. That's absolutely fantastic. All right, just another quick judge shuffle. Melissa, I'm going to ask you to hop off. And George, are you okay to rejoin in here? Thank you. And we will have the next print, please. Architectural image of the South Australian Health and Medical Research Institute, a landmark building in Adelaide, revisited for this photo after the landscaping to the forecourt, joining it to the new adjacent hospital, was complete, which gave a new and more complete perspective to this building than was possible previously. We are an average 80, but we do have a score of 79. So we are in the very high professional practice, and I would love to hear a comment from you, George. You did come in at 83 on this one.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful shot, especially the center of the image is light, draws your eye to that, and then you're able to explore the rest of the image. I think what let it down was the sharpness of the print. If it wasn't for that, then it would have been a solid silver.
All right, you've got some nods happening around the room here from the other judges, so thank you very much for that comment. And can I have the next print, please? Looking through paper, perky paper. Just turn me off. This print scores a 77. Are we happy with that? Yep. Okay, all happy? Fantastic. So I would love to get a comment, David, please. Thank you.
I like the idea. I think the execution could have been a little bit more precise in terms of the points of focus, and also it's just a bit loose in terms of the bottom horizon, if you like, of the shot on the left-hand side. I mean, you've got these shapes that are meant to be very, kind of orderly. To have those things that are a little bit loose just make it look a little bit clumsy, I suppose. But I think it's a really great idea that could be revisited and really nailed.
All right, thank you very much for that. So, sorry, another little judge shuffle. So I'm going to ask George and Mark to step off. And Laurie and Bender, could you join us, please? And can I have the next print, please? Celestial body produce and spring water product. Celestial body produce and spring water product. Hang on just a sec, Ben, before you... Is that right? Okay, yep. And this print scores an 81 and is a silver award. And good, consistent judging across the board. Laurie, I'd love to hear a comment from you.
Yeah, I really liked this one. I could really get a sense of where you might be able to, where this product comes from. So the photographer has chosen some beautiful colours for it to blend together. The only thing that I would add to help the photographer is maybe go in and have a look at the skin very closely. There's a couple of areas there that my eyes were drawn to and probably not appropriate. Like
Thank
a bum.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I'm actually going to ask Mark Z if I can borrow you to step up here for me for a little while, if that's okay. That would be much appreciated. So I will hand over to Mark Z just to finish off this commercial category, and I will excuse myself if you're all okay with that, and I'll see you all again very shortly.
Thanks, Louise. Good morning. My name is Mark Z, and we are currently judging the commercial category for the SANT EPSON AIPP Professional Print Awards, and this category is sponsored by Graphic Art Supplies. Just get the sponsor plug out the way, and we'll move on to our next print, please. Caption. Facade. Okay, so can I ask Gary just to step in for Benter for this moment? All right, and this print scores an 83 and is a silver award. And we've got Gary putting his hand up with the challenge on 88. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, I've gone further than just a silver award with this picture. It's these elements have just been so almost perfectly rendered. It doesn't even look like a building. It looks like just a series of graphic triangles and shapes that have been perfectly stuck together. I'm further down the track than just a silver award. What are we on, Mark? We're at 83.
83, yep.
Yeah. I just think I can see more than a low silver award here. The way everything is just so perfect and sharp, and the colour palette's really beautifully handled as well. There's some variation in the red, and the white's not white, it's just outer white, so there's detail in the white. It's a nice subtle bit of detail in all those shadow elements as well. It's not completely symmetrical, which is interesting as well. So you go looking around all these shadows and lines and bits. So yeah, I just went further into 88 silver with distinction.
All right, so I might pass it down to Clayton.
I was in silver, and I don't have any hesitation with the silver. I think the very things you see in it, Gary, that you particularly like, I'm struggling with is the repetition and there's no organic feel about any individualism between all those sort of the reds and the shape. And I guess the red's a little bit uncomfortable for me. It's so bright. I just want to mute that down a little bit. But, again, I'm listening to it. It's certainly a silver without any hesitation.
Yep. Laurie.
Yeah, look, I gave it an 84, so I placed it very high in the silver. The thing that held me back from a silver distinction, because I would have really liked to have done that, is maybe seen something that the photographer was actually bringing to this picture, maybe in a little imagination. And I sort of looked at perhaps rotating it around to one side or the other, so it looked like something else, and sort of had your mind sort of boggling a bit. So I guess I was looking for something a little bit more that the photographer was bringing to the picture.
Excellent. Thank you. Back to Gary.
Yeah, look, for me, I think the control of that tonal repetition is really consistent and very strong. There's nothing organic in this picture. It is all mechanical and blocks. There's nothing smooth. It's angular and full of shapes, and all of those shapes have been rendered really consistently. So let's see what happens next.
Excellent. Thanks, Gary. So we're going to hold your score at 88. Sorry, I'll accept that challenge. And ask the rest of the panel to enter a score, please. And the print's gone up to an 84. Solid silver award there. Excellent. Thank you. So, Benta, I'll ask you back to the panel, please. And we'll have our next print, please. This image was self-commissioned in August 2018 for my commercial portfolio. The image captures the natural light filled lobby inside South Australia's Samri building. And this print scores an 80 and is a silver award. David, do you mind making a quick comment for the entrant?
Yeah, I think This could have gone even higher. I really enjoy this, but it really could have gone higher for me if the contrast and compositional structure of the outside was continued in the centre, where you're sort of drawn to. So a little bit of work maybe on that, and this could be improved even more.
Excellent. Thank you, David. We'll have our next print, please. Next print, please. Print handlers, thank you. With the future of road vehicles to be 50% electric by 2030, Porsche is ahead of the game with its eco-friendly high-performance vehicle. One of the fastest cars in the world, the 918e Hybrid packs a V8 engine with 2 electric motors and achieves better economy than the Toyota Prius. Yeah. And this print scores an 83. And we've got a challenge automatically from Laurie, who up there in the silver distinction. So take it away, Laurie.
Yeah, this is really sexy. Those the photographers handled those highlights, and that has given this car slickness. I mean, I know it's slick, but it just looks really silky on that on the print up there. The shape of the circular wheel, I imagine, is the wheel of the vehicle itself, and the use of the colour, that neon colour, which gives it that sort of modern feel. It gives it a bit of a techno feel. I'm feeling like this car is like the future of motor vehicles, and that's what they're advertising. But geez, it's really sexy, and having it up against the black as well just really gives it that beautiful slickness. I think the photographers handled this absolutely amazing. I've given it a silver distinction. I don't know how far.
Yeah, look, you're working with a 79, an 83, an 84, and an 80.
Oh, good. Okay, so we're close. Yeah, look, I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking.
Excellent. Clayton.
Yeah, Laurie, I'm keen to revisit it, so that's a great opportunity. What I've really stuck on, and I don't own this particular model, or any model, to be that vain. So maybe you know the vehicle better than I do, but the highlights on the bodywork, I can't get past that, because having shot cars and done a lot, if I had those sort of highlights on the bodywork, unless they were meant to be there, they're part of the actual design of it, which someone can convince me they are, then it's outstanding. But those highlights just look like they shouldn't be there. And as sort of done car photography, I just would be very unhappy with what's on there. But yeah, overall, strong image.
Can I also ask Ben to comment? You're right on that print average.
Yeah, I was really happy with getting a silver. For me, those highlights, I think what Clayton said, they are what kept me down, especially on the bonnet. The ones at the very front of the bonnet look like they're just the room that it's in. Whereas if it was just the fluoros or whatever lights that they're using, I think it really adds to that sleekness, which is beautiful. The image is beautiful. Everything else I think is handled really beautifully. One thing which I didn't mark it down for was a kerning on that text. It's just a little bit too...
All right, back to Laurie for your right of reply.
Okay, excellent. I'm glad you brought up those highlights because that's what's actually brought it up for me. I think having those swirly highlights on the bonnet and on the roof are actually giving that extra strength of giving that, I don't know how you would call it, but like a, I don't know, the futuristic sort of screen in front of you that's like a computer digital sort of, and it just emphasises that futuristic feel for me in terms of where this car's going and what they're advertising. Look, you know, if that text wasn't there, I would have given it a gold.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, guys, let's bring it up to a silver distinction and really reward the photographer, their innovation and thinking of how do I make this sexy car look even more futuristic than what it is.
Thank you, Laurie. We're holding at 88, and we'll have the rest of the judges rescore, please. And the print's gone up to an 84, so just shy of silver distinction, but really solid silver award. And we're just going to do a quick judge swab. So, Benta, thank you. I'll get Gary to jump in. And we shall have our next print, please. Klein, eat your heart out. Klein, as in Calvin. Sorry, Calvin Klein, eat your heart out. It was there. No, it's okay. It won't let you. It won't let you. It's fine. And the print score's a 77, so great professional practice there. And Laurie, can I ask you to make a comment on this one?
Yeah, firstly, look, congratulations to the photographer for capturing two beautiful people in this monotone manner that you have, and referencing Calvin Klein. The highlights, I guess, for me, the lighting on the girl's face were a bit too heavy and sort of made also the guy was a bit muddy in the face. I guess also the caption sort of perhaps was misinterpreted in terms of looking at this image as well, in that Calvin Klein is a fashion product, and there's no fashion in this other than if you're actually referencing a particular style of Calvin Klein, it didn't quite match.
Wonderful. Thank you, Laurie. We'll have our next print, please. Dusty. George, can I get you to step in, please? Dusty. Okay, the print score's an 82. Happy with that score? Yep, great. And we'll have our next print, please. Yeah, comment, sorry. Gary?
Look, with the caption on Dusty, I don't know. I suppose that's an example of a caption that maybe doesn't sort of come across. Having said that, though, judging the image and the content that is in the image, really well controlled in terms of the lovely colour palette throughout the image. So, yeah, silver award.
Excellent, thank you. And we'll have our next print, please. Adelaide Convention Centre loading dock, architectural detail. An interesting section of the building joining North Terrace, showing strong lines, angles, colours and light. Okay, so the print scores a 77. And we're going to have are we happy with that score? We're going to, yep, so Clayton's going to challenge it. So Clayton, you're in a very solid silver there.
Yeah, I'm at 84, and I was contemplating going higher because I think the elements in this photograph are really exceptionally well handled. I think the lighting is beautiful. The geometric shapes are outstanding. You know, and when it first turned around, I thought, you know what, I'd like to crop that foreground because it just looks not as clean and tidy as the rest of it. But when I looked at it, that actually is what really strengthens up this image, because that foreground is sort of grubby and dirty, and it says this has really had some work in this place. But above that line are just beautiful colours, beautiful geometric shapes. The red is really nice, but it's not strong enough to take you out. The angle of the loading dock takes you back into the shot again. As I say, the geometric shapes of it work exceptionally well. And I'm really liking that little bit of the foreground concrete there, because it says there's been people here and there's been activity and there's really lots going on, but it's still got a pristine feel about the image.
Going to throw it down to you, Gary.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned the grunge of the loading dock story and the curb and the compared to the almost perfectness of the architectural features. I was trying to piece those two things together and make them work as an entity, and I just found that the lovely linear perfection up above, it just didn't seem to fit together with that story of the loading dock. I mean, maybe a bigger contrast of grunge versus perfection might have been there. Also, the foot curbing, the yellow curbing, it's not straight across the bottom. It actually kicks up quite a bit on that right hand side. But you know, that's maybe nitpicking. But yeah, I need to see some more before I can get to a silver here. Yeah, so.
David, you also just snuck it into the silver. I'll get you to make a comment, please.
I thought the caption was pretty perfect, and I mentioned that because sometimes it's good to suggest to the judges what you want them to see in your photo. And I don't know if that's allowed or not, but it was like, I can't remember what the words were, but I went, oh yeah, tick, 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 tick. Oh, good. Okay, well, successful image. But I gave it an 81. I didn't go higher. I think it's a silver. But I didn't go higher just because I would like it to be sharper, actually. And I didn't like where it was, particularly in that grungy foreground on the left-hand side where it was unsharp. It doesn't look like nice unsharpness, if that makes sense. And I think the rest of it where it's meant to be sharp, could be even sharper. So my issues were with sharpness, but I quite like the balance and the colours and all the things that were mentioned in the caption.
Excellent. So, Clayton, back to you with your right of reply.
Yeah, look, just following up on that sort of grunginess, and you know, the fact that there is a slight variation in that foreground, I feel gives it strength, because it says that that it's not perfect, and it sort of relates to me about the working nature of it, and that there is imperfection where there is meant in some ways meant to be perfection. And so, you know, again, the things probably you see as a drawback, I see add to the story and give it a little bit more depth.
Thanks, Clay. We'll hold your 84 and we'll have the rest of the judges rescore. Oh, we've come up a couple of points. We've got it to a 79. Very high professional practice there. So congratulations to the entrant. And we'll have our next print. Thank you. Flip the wheel. Flip the... Yep. Flip around. Grey screen. Grey screen. Grey screen. Grey screen. Grey screen. Thank you. Thank you very much, judges. Congratulations to all the entrants for the 2019 AIPP EPSON commercial category sponsored by Graphic Art Supplies. So don't go away. We'll be trying to start the next category, which is... Oh, we got sport today. Sorry, we got sport. So, in that case... All right, so do we have any conflicts? Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, so Ben, I might get you to hop off. We'll put George back in the throw. Thank you. So we're now moving on to the sports section of the commercial category. Sponsored by Graphic Art Supplies. You're good to go? Beautiful. Okay, so if we're already set to go, we've got everybody set up in our system here, and we will have the first print for the sports section of the commercial category for the South Australian Northern Territory EPSON Professional Photography Awards. Self-commissioned image for marketing purposes of Robbie Dillison of Team Melbourne Vic Centre as he competes in the men's 5-kilometre time trial 2019 Australian Open Water Championships 28th of January 2019 at Brighton Beach, Adelaide, South Australia. And this print scores a 75. So, Laurie, do you mind making a comment for the entrant on this one?
Yeah. Look, you know, these are really hard photographs to capture somebody in a particular sports category. And I sort of felt when I looked at this, I was expecting somebody swimming, and I sort of felt that perhaps the capture was really giving me somebody who was just floating, taking it easy. So maybe there was something before and after this shot that the photographer can probably revisit and have a look at.
Excellent, thank you. And we will have our next print, please. Players from Sydney FC preparing for a classic David versus Goliath showdown during the Westfield FFA Cup competition, which saw Darwin Rovers playing host to the Sydney FC. And this print scores an 80 and is a silver award. Gary.
Yeah, it's an interesting picture in that it feels like the motion's going forwards and backwards at the same time. So, yeah, well done with this interpretation of what's essentially a fairly bland kind of sporting moment, really. So, yeah, interpretive image of a fairly boring moment. So, yep, 82.
Excellent. Thank you. And we'll have our next print, please. Image resulting from AFL commission to photograph the AFL Women's Grand Final for marketing and or editorial purposes. Carlton midfielder Karen Harrington and Port Adelaide defender Jenna McCormick clash in the third quarter of the AFLW Grand Final, Sunday 31st March 2019 at the Adelaide Oval. Oh, no, at the Adelaide Oval. No, Adelaide defender. Okay, this print scores an 82. We got Laurie having a hand up straight away. 88, we're going to accept your challenge.
Awesome. I have no idea about football, but what I get from this image is yuck. Don't touch me. I've got a real sense of disgust or, I don't know, combat between these two teams, these two players. There's that real tension between them. And I think it's a superb capture that the photographer's been able to show us here today in their print. It's been well printed. The action's in there. We can see that there's a huge crowd. I've given it a silver distinction because I thought this was well and beyond a silver award, and really wanted to reward the photographer for not only capturing a scene but also capturing a feeling with what's going on in this and giving me a sense of, you know, I don't want to use hatred, but the actual conflict perhaps between the two teams, the tension between the two teams. So I'd love to hear what you guys have got for me.
Gary.
Yeah, look, I was hoping that that this was about point of impact, but it kind of was sort of, I was trying to get impact out of the picture, but it sort of comes across as sort of grapple and wrestle. So because the facial expressions have impact in them, that emotion of impact, yet it's closed and both the figures are sort of enveloping each other. So in terms of a moment of sport, I get what you're saying about the brutality and what have you, but then in the middle of it, it's closed and covered, that impact moment. So, yeah, I can hear some more things.
David, you supported this into the silver range. I'm going to ask you to make a comment.
Yeah, I did enjoy this. I got the sense of power and impact and the expression. I really enjoyed like the expression on their faces, but I agree with the previous judge that the moment of impact in terms of a sporting moment is not quite the precise defining moment for me. But I'm at 82, so I think it's a great image.
All right, Laurie, you're itching for your right of reply.
Yeah,
Bring it home.
And I think this is why it's really awesome to have a female on this panel, because this is how females react to impact. You know, we don't want to be touched in any way. You know, it's a different sort of expression that we give. And for me, this is exactly how I would feel if I was on in this particular image and this particular scene and being touched or having impact of any kind with the team that I'm up against. So for me, it's perfect.
Wonderful. We're going to hold you at 88, Laurie, and we'll have the rest of our judges enter a new score, please. It's gone up a point to an 83. Very solid silver award there. Congratulations to the entrant. And we will have our next print, please. Mountain biking in the Northern Territory is a very popular sport, with the local government investing heavily to boost tourism to the top end. This photo aims to reflect the brand positioning of the NT as a top mountain biking destination. Okay. Ben, would you mind stepping in for this one, please? And this print scores a 79. High professional practice there. Clay, can I ask you to make a comment for the entrant on this?
Yeah, look, I put it at 78, 79, and I really think it is, very good professional practice. I think for me, I'm lacking the drama of the mountain biking from this image because it's a flat plane, I think it's the lack of drama that I feel if I was really trying to show how outstanding mountain biking is in the Territory, but it's a really nicely created image.
Excellent, thank you. And we'll just do a quick judge stop. So Ben, I'm going to get you to stay put if I can. And thank you, George. And we'll have our next print, please. Self-commissioned image for marketing purposes, capturing Adelaide Strikers Colin Bulldozer Ingham as he makes his debut in the KFC Big Bash League against Sydney Thunder, 22nd of December 2017 at the Adelaide Oval. Okay, well, the print average was an 80, but we have a 79 by a majority. But we can have a challenge. We're going to take that from David Evans.
Talking about, the defining moment in sport, this is a good example of the right moment. Thinking about where that cricket ball could be and where it's ended up being captured over that black, almost like you put up a backdrop and put a ball on it. And the expression on his face and the stance actually works compositionally. Sponsor logos, you name it. I held back from going higher just because the print quality I think could be better. But I think in terms of the moment and composition and ball position and sharpness where it should be on him and the expression of his effort, I think it's a solid silver.
Laurie, can I ask you to make a comment?
Yeah. Look, thanks for bringing this up because I did sort of hover around. I sat at 78 is where I placed this particular image, and I sort of felt that I've seen this before, and I felt that it. I don't know. I just sort of held back because of the fact that I didn't see anything new in it, and this is what I would expect to see in terms of this type of shot.
Excellent. Gary?
Look, with sports photography, I suppose most of the time you're looking at point of impact and bat ball style sports. They're always editorials always chasing moment of impact. But this is well beyond moment of impact. This is about interaction with what's happened as a result of the impact. And it's eyes engaging with where the ball's gone. So I think showing that balance on one foot, it is about post the action, but it's still holding our interest. And as David said, the ball placed within that negative space. So I think for me, I'm on silver. So that we just need a little bit more there. Yeah.
Excellent. So back to you, David, for your right of reply.
Yeah, look, I think in terms of sports photography, this is actually a little bit unusual and a little bit above what you might normally expect to capture. If I gave you a camera and you went to the cricket, you wouldn't get this shot.
Wonderful. We're holding your 84. Judges, please enter a new score. Print now scores an 83. Very solid silver. And can we just move? Print, please. Jared McNeil flies high at the inaugural Australian Moto X Step Up event held at the Adelaide 500. It's the equivalent of a high jump on a bike, with riders taking off vertically in an attempt to clear the bar, which was set at 38 feet for this event-winning jump. Okay, so the print scores an 83, and we've got a challenge from Ben at 88.
Yeah, 88 is what I scored. I think it really deserves a silver with distinction. It is such an excellent moment captured and displayed to us. Just the expression, you can't see the faces, but you can see where they're looking. You got one guy, he's looking up to the sky. It's like, yeah, I'm the guy right up here. You got the guy right down the bottom. He's looking at the ground. Is like, that's where I'm going to land. And the guy that's just going over the bar, he's looking at the bars, just making sure he's not going to hit it, fall over, and stuff everything up. I think what I don't know. I love the colours of it. Just so vibrant, and it just suits the event that it is. Actually, so I think it deserves more than just a silver. I think it's really, really well seen.
Clayton, can I ask you for a comment?
Yeah, look, I'm welcome the opportunity to be talked up on it. I'm a bit confused. I don't know the sport well, but if it's a moment, I'm not sure why there's 3 riders on there at one time. But hopefully on your reply you can explain a little bit more to me. I put it sort of top end of professional practice. I think the background just being so murky really lets it down for me, and I just probably that's where I sort of struggled to the background really sort of killed it off for me. But yeah, love to hear more.
I'm getting eyes everywhere with people wanting to talk about this one, but I am going to go to Laurie, who also put it in the silver distinction range.
Yeah, look, I really enjoyed the funness of this. The colours gave me a sense of fun. The little crowns on top of what looks like crowns from back here, on top of each of those poles gave me a sense of a jester sort of circus. This is fun. So I got a real sense of fun from it. And then when I got up close to the image, it was sharp, it was clean, it was neat. So, yeah, I went silver distinction.
Wonderful. All right. So, Ben, we're going to go back to you for your right of reply.
If there was just one rider in this would be a piece of cake. This won an award. Can I ask for the caption again?
Certainly. Jared McNeil flies high at the inaugural Australian Motocross Step Up event held at the Adelaide 500. It's the equivalent of high jump on a bike, with riders taking off vertically in an attempt to clear the bar, which was set at 38 feet for this event-winning jump.
Event-winning jump. I'm not really sure what that means, but they're obviously competing for something. They're competing, like this is a challenge, and that's why there are 3 of them. Imagine doing this yourself. I wouldn't even go up there just by myself, but having 3 people, oh my goodness. The sky itself, I don't find it a distraction at all. I think it's good that it's what it is. If it was a blue sky, it might be more distracting than anything else. If there were ominous clouds, it might be a little bit more distracting again. I think it's exactly how it needs to be. I see a distinction, guys.
That was Ben's right of reply. I'll allow you to make the comment after David, but we'll need to ask the rest of the judges to please enter a new score. Print goes to a civil distinction on 85. And David, fill us in.
It's the same guy with 3 captures put together in post. But yeah.
Yes. Wonderful. We're just going to hold that print there for a minute. We'll just do a quick judge swap. Thank you very much, Ben. We're going to ask Benta to join the panel. And just while she's doing that, I'd just like to give a very big thank you to our sponsor for the commercial category for the SANT EPSON Awards. So not only EPSON, who have been supporting us forever and a day, but Graphic Art Supplies are actually South Australia's longest contributing continual sponsor for our state, and I believe the longest continuing sponsor of any company throughout the nation. So thank you to Graphic Art Supplies for their continued support. And we shall have our next print, please. A biker performs a huge jump in one of the NT's many mountain biking trails. This photo aims to reflect the brand positioning of the NT as the top mountain biking destination. And this print scores a 78. And can I ask Gary? Yeah, thank you.
I suppose if you're going to approach sort of these aerial skills or these sorts of events, I think the peak of the action is the isolation of that figure within the air, and I think here he's just a little bit lost amongst the vegetation. So a little change of angle might give it a bit more strength.
Great feedback there, Gary. And we'll have our next print, please. Self-commissioned image of Diamondback Fighting Championship 6 for marketing purposes. Sorry, I'll just read that sentence again. Self-commissioned image of Diamondback Fighting Championship 6 for marketing purposes. Dylan Adams connects an overhand right on Ian Nyan in their bout, which ended in a draw. DFC 6, William Margery Room, Adelaide Oval, Friday the 17th of August 2018. All right, and everyone was in the ballpark. High professional practice there at a 78. And can I ask, Clayton, are you able to make a comment for the entrant, please?
Yeah. Look, great opportunity, and I know it's subject to what happens in front of you often and these things. But if the action turned around and we went slightly right, and I saw the impact on that face and the jaw being bent, like that would be right up there in the high silvers. So everything's working there. It's just often these things are subject to what happens in front of you sometimes.
Excellent, thank you, Clay. And we'll have our next print, please. The captain of Darwin Rovers protests against a refereeing decision during Football Northern Territory's biggest game of the year. As a referee sternly waves the player away dismissively, Sydney FC would go on to win by 8-0. And the print scores an 80 and is a silver award. David? Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really great refereeing decision photo, and I say it like that because why would you photograph that? But it's photographed and it's been done quite well. It's a really nice little story going on there, and each expression and each gesture is almost like it's been constructed by actors and put in there. So I think it's really nice.
Fantastic feedback back there, thank you. And we'll have a blank screen, please, because that was the final image of the sports subsection of the commercial category for the SANT Professional Photography Awards, sponsored by EPSON and Graphic Art Supplies. Thank you very much to our judges. Quick little break now. Go and grab some lunch very, very quickly. Make your way back as soon as we can.